Okay, perfect. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast. Sister Alima, this means so much that you take time out of your busy schedule. Sister Alima, before we get started and ask you the questions, is there a way that I can hear myself? Is there a way you can turn that down a little bit?
Turn what down?
I hear myself coming through the speakers.
Oh, you
Okay.
mean turn my... Oh, I have a Zoom. Should I turn that speaker off? The Zoom speaker?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to hearing this great history from Sister Alima Muhammad of Washington, D.C. This means so much that she would take time out of her busy schedule. Um, Here we go. Boom. Thank everyone who's watching the People's Podcast. This upcoming season, we have some great guests, some more great guests, and I look forward to hearing from them. All right, we're right back live with Sister Alima Muhammad. There you are, ma'am.
Thank you for... It's an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you.
Yes, ma'am. Wonderful. All right, there's the angle. Perfect. Okay, well, Sister Alima, the first question I want to know is, we right before we went live, you spoke of your accent. Where did the accent come from?
I was born in Georgetown, Guyana.
Mm.
Guyana was formerly known as British Guyana, and it became independent from the British rule in the 60s. And I attended school in England from Guyana. And then after I left England, I resided in America, New York City in America.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Oh, 1977.
Mm.
I had just completed my training as an anesthetist at Medical College of Virginia. I returned to New York City in 1976, and a friend of mine introduced me to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1977.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. My sister Miriam sends the greetings and says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Alima.
Please return the greetings of Walaikum Salam to your whole family, your beautiful family.
Yes, ma'am. Please do the same for you as well. My next question for you is, why did you accept the teachings?
I grew up being educated as someone from Britain. So I never knew myself. I never knew Black history. But once I was introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I learned more about myself and discovered that I didn't know too much about my heritage, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his teachings really re-educated me and gave me information about myself, and I started learning more of who I am and learn to like myself as someone being Black.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And once you accepted, what was the process after that? Like, where did you go?
Okay, well, actually, when I first learned about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I started looking and searching where I can go and learn more about the teachings. At that time, the only place of learning was Malcolm Shabazz Masjid, which was in New York City.
Mm.
So I attended Malcolm Shabazz Masjid for those years until 1980, when Minister Farrakhan started the Nation of Islam. So June 1st, June 1st, 1980, I actually attended Temple number 7, which I think was the first day after the minister spoke and started the nation in May of 1980. I attended temple number 7, and that's when I learned more about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I never left. I've been in the nation ever since.
Oh,
Praise be
praise
to
be to
Allah.
God.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Beautiful since 1980. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I didn't know it was New York. All right, so what was it like? What was the climate like being around towards the Muslims during that time in 1980? What was it like?
It was indifferent. And I say indifferent because when where I lived in New York, I lived on the east side of Manhattan. And when I changed the way I dressed, I was a sore eye to my friends and my family because my family did not speak to me for a while. And my friends turned their backs on me because they did not like the way I started to dress and change my look, my outlook, my thinking. So I became isolated. But it didn't matter because Allah blessed me with new friends. I learned how to be an MGT, and God blessed me with new friends and better friends than the ones that I had at that time.
Beautiful, Salima, beautiful.
Because a lot of them didn't. A lot of my friends really didn't speak to me after I became a Muslim in the 1980s.
Mm. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so then you become a Muslim. Who was the minister, the captains? Like was it set up in 1980 or did that come later?
Well, the nation started building itself, but the minister at that time was Minister Kareem
Mm.
Mohammed.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think he was known as Minister, I can't remember his
Lenoir.
name, but Linwood, yes, Brother Linwood. And my instructress, my orientation instructress was Sister Aisha. At that time, she was known as Sister Tony.
Mm, 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 mm.
And she was married to Brother Wazir. I forgot what his name was. And I can't remember who my sister captain name was. And then the year after I stood up and took my Shahada, Sister Ava, Sister Dr. Ava, and the lawyer, Sister Barbara, they came in the year after I accepted, around the same time.
Mm, beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And for those who are watching, we've had the honor of interviewing, of course, Sister Dr. Ava and Sister Barbara as well. So now we're getting everybody to tell you all's history. That's beautiful. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to
Um,
Allah. Yes, sir.
now, Sister Lim, okay, so once you come in, you accept. What was it like in New York? I thought this whole time I'm thinking you from DC. Okay, so yes, ma'am. So in New York, what was it like for you meeting the minister for the first time?
Oh, it was enlightening and really exhilarating because I was learning so much that for me, I was on a journey trying to climb this spiral staircase to heaven. I learned a lot, and it was, well, I hate to say it, at that time, I felt, and now we're in that new knowledge of mine. At that time, I really felt like I was in the company of Jesus.
Mm.
But that was my own quiet thoughts. And I kept learning and learning and learning and kept making me a better person as I learned.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. So you're saying as soon as you saw the minister, you felt there was some divinity there. You knew that he was different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because what I was hearing and learning from him was not something I had heard before. And that knowledge gave me a good foundation whereby the trials that I go through in life, I am able to overcome it and become and keep growing and not going backwards.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Okay, my next question for you, ma'am, is fear. When you were, this is the early days. I don't know how strong the FOY had become at this point, or if everybody knew. But has there ever been a point where you were afraid and felt fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
I said earlier that I lived in Manhattan and dressed as a Muslim, and the apartment building where I lived on York Avenue on the east side, I felt at first like a sore thumb, but I was able to overcome it because I knew I was on the right track, and I started to pray and ask God to keep me focused and stay on the path, because I knew what I was learning was the truth. I encountered situations where taxis would not stop for me,
Mm,
and the doorman of the apartment building where I lived, he would go outside and hail a taxi for me. And then I would jump into the taxi, and then the taxi would have to drive me into Harlem because I was already in the cab.
mm.
But those are and even when I rode on the bus, looking like a Muslim in a long garment, my head covered, people just stared at me. But you know what? My mother always taught me, don't be afraid of anything. Hold your head up high as long as you know that you're doing the correct thing.
Beautiful. Praise be to
So
God.
pray with prayer and really constantly talking to myself and reassuring myself that I was on the right track. I was doing the correct thing. That kept me going.
Praise be to
All
Allah.
praise you to
Excellent.
Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, ma'am. Okay, my next question is the Jesse Jackson campaign, and how was it that to be around during that time period?
Oh, fortifying, because it was a different climate first, because we were having problems with the Jews and they were throwing stones at us. But you know what? The company of the Muslims and the MGT, and we were learning how to be soldiers and take post and march forward. That gave us the strength to overcome that climate. That was a very serious climate. But you know what? We overcame it. And we did a great job in being successful in whatever we did. We overcame it. And then we had Sister Ava and Sister Barbara. They were talking strong on the radio programs.
Mm,
That was wonderful too. That was also another part of the war that we had to overcome. So that kept us all going and going strong.
beautiful. All praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. It's just, okay. Well, speaking of doing, so after the Jesse Jackson, then comes the Dope Busters. How was that for you to be around during that time period?
Oh, that was another exhilarating incident, because at that time the brothers over there in Mayfair, they were holding their post down, because I remember, I don't know if you remember Brother Akil, where his car was shot up and he got down onto the ground of the car, was driving the car with his hand on the pedal
Yes,
of
ma'am.
the car,
Yes, ma'am.
and nothing happened to him. We had no casualties. So we knew, and we know, we knew and we knew, we knew and we know that God was with us. And the sisters, we stood like a solid wall, and we did what we had to do and moved forward. And we never had one casualty, not one casualty.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, excellent. And after the Dope Busters, now comes along some of the Million Man March. What was it
yes,
like for
sir.
you? What was the climate
Oh,
for you as a sister? How did it impact you as a woman?
well, again, as I said to you earlier, I was climbing the spiral stair to heaven. We were going higher and higher and higher. And I had a very important role where I had the pleasure and the honor of securing the minister with the medical team.
Mm,
So I was on his detail to make sure that he was safe, and if anything needed any care or any immediate medical attention had to be administered, I felt honored that I was there in preparation to take care of that incident. However, again, we had no casualties, and that was such a wonderful day. We were out there early before 5 o'clock, before dawn, and the brothers were coming, the crowd was coming, and the speakers were speaking until it ended that evening. No casualties, and you would never, everybody was peaceful, and it ended with on a high note.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. So when you got the assignment to secure the minister dealing with the medical and things of that nature, were you nervous?
Not particularly. I knew what I was doing, but I was praying because I knew I had my armor there with me. God was with us, and that we all stood like a solid wall, prepared for anything that may have happened. And you know what? Every time we have an event, God is there with us, whereby we always leave and we go home with no casualties on the battlefield. It's the battlefield, no
Yes, ma'am.
casualties.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Well, Sister Lima, in your illustrious career in the nation and tenure in the nation since 1980, what has been your greatest trial and how have you overcome that trial?
Ooh. Oh, my greatest trial. Oh, I'm having a problem thinking. Well, I guess I would have to say when I was going through a divorce and I did not know how the believers would react to me. But Dr. Nisa Muhammad was my captain at the time, and she was very, very supportive. She sent me over to Baltimore mosque number 6 to help them with their orientation class. So that kept me very, very busy because every weekend I would drive up to Baltimore and help them start their orientation class and help them with their MGT. And all praises due to Allah, I will say a lot of the MGT that I trained then are still in the classes now, and they're doing other things. So that was a way of my overcoming it in a very positive light.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. What has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the nation?
Oh, working and feeding the minister, because there were times when he traveled to Washington, D.C., we had to prepare meals for him. When he started the nation, at that time, we didn't have the excellent staffing that we have now that cook for the minister, but it was a joy in preparing meals for him when he came to Washington, D.C., and taking care of securing him, helping to secure him. That was one of my greatest joy. And entertaining as time went on, there a lot of meetings and dinners were held at my home, whereby we entertained the staff of the minister and his family. That was one of my greatest joys in the nation.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Well, Alima, I want to you're cooking for the minister and you perceive him as Jesus at that time, early before a lot of people, had a proper understanding of who he was. When you were cooking, were you ever nervous then? How did you feel knowing that you were cooking for a man of God?
Oh yes, very nervous, very nervous, very nervous. But all praises due to Allah. I had very good training in New York. The sisters there, and in the MGT class, we had to learn how to make bread. We had to learn how to make bean soup. We had to learn how to make bean pies. So we had to present our dishes to our captain and our lieutenant. So I never received any complaints about the bean soup that I prepared. Beautiful. So that was reassuring to know that maybe he enjoyed it.
Okay, great. Praise be to Allah. Well, Sister Lima, what advice would you give to the younger sisters who are coming up, and the younger brothers as well, just in this younger generation, about keeping the faith for, since you had your faith since 1980? What advice would you give?
The advice I would give is to hold on when trials or anything negative comes your way. Pray, make your salat,
Mm,
fast, but hold on, because it's no use turning and walking out on your heels. When you do that on your own. You cannot say that somebody chased me from the mosque. You left because you left on your own. You stay and you do what you're supposed to do. Take your post, fast, follow your instructions, believe in Allah, make Allah sufficient for yourself,
yes, ma'am.
because it's death out there. It is death out there. So if you are feeling uncomfortable in the mosque, it's better to be feeling uncomfortable in the mosque than feeling uncomfortable outside. We have storms, we have earthquakes, we have coronavirus, we have all these problems outside. Life outside the mosque or the ark or Noah's ark
Yes, ma'am.
is not pleasant. And if you think it's better out there, try it. You will not like it. You'll be running back inside the mosque. As Brother Allah taught us one time, he says, when you fish the fish out of the water, make sure you bring him in or reel him in further inside from the water, because once he still starts smelling that seawater, he wants to go back in there. But it's best to resist that. Stay put, stay strong, whatever comes your way, and you will be tried. Allah tries us all severely twice a year. You will be tried, but trials purify and you will survive.
Excellent, excellent. And so, Lima, we have just a few more questions for you, but I have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this month. I want to thank everyone. If you all like to be a sponsor or a donor to the People's Podcast, please cash app the $ the People's Podcast. Thank you all very much. My brother Rashad, Street Premiere Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. If you need any of that, please reach out to my brother Rashad. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Make sure you all go out there and get those, please. My sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Our brothers out of the West Coast, NTS Car Bros, any make, any model, any year, 30 to 50% off. Thank you all. If you all need a vehicle, they'll be able to ship them to you anywhere. Sister Rashida, if you're writing a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, media relations, or consulting, please reach out to Ra Communications. Ra Communications, if you're working on a book, Sister Rashida does a magnificent job. Also, out of Houston, Texas, the Elevated Places from Sister Melvin Muhammad, where I am what God says I am. They're raising young kings and queens. Asiatic Minds Online, this school is launching this fall. Make sure you all get out there and support, sign your children up. A virtual school teaching the knowledge of self and the knowledge of this world and of the next to create young gods. Thank you very much. I'm coming right back to Sister Alima. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you all anywhere in the country. Thank you very much, Brother Kenneth. If you need a bow tie, please reach out to Brother Kenneth. Also, WFM Law Firm. This is the Warren Fitzgerald Muhammad, the law offices of Warren Fitzgerald Muhammad. If you all are in need of any thing dealing in the law, dealing with the lawyers, they're helping their clients. They just do an amazing job with injuries and things dealing with anesthesia, like our anesthesiologist, Sister Lima. Beautiful. Thank you to Warren F. Muhammad, WFM Law Firm. Thank you very much. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Thank you all very much for your continued sponsorships and donations. To all the people on YouTube, every time I post this, I appreciate all your comments, your likes, your shares. Thank you all very much for your support. Right back to Sister Alima. Okay, Sister Alima, what do you do for fun, ma'am?
Oh, well, the MGT has us very busy.
Okay.
I enjoy canning. I can with my first officer, Lieutenant Sister Stephanie Muhammad. And I enjoy the farming, which I'm a part of with Sister Yvette Muhammad. We are part of the agricultural committee. And God willing, when I move to Atlanta, I hope to join up with Sister Teresa and go and help out in the community with the agricultural team there in Atlanta.
Beautiful.
But I love the agricultural classes.
Yes, ma'am. What type of music do you listen to, Sister Lima?
I love classical music.
Okay, okay.
The reason why I say it with some hesitation is that when I came to America, some of my brothers and sisters thought when I was listening to classical music that I was listening to white music, but it's not white music. That's our music. And after hearing the minister, it gave me such joy because it's cultural. Master Farad Muhammad wants us to know and learn and enjoy classical music. I grew up as a little girl, my mom telling me that Beethoven was a black man. And when I heard the minister teach that, I was so happy that he was educating us about classical music because it's not white music, it's our music. They stole it from us and they made it theirs. But I love classical music and I love music of the 60s.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Sister Lima, I look forward to seeing you. I know my family does as well. Once you move to Atlanta, I look forward to talking to you and
yes, sir.
Seeing if you have any pictures of us from back in the day when we were in DC. I don't know if you have some, so that would be great. If you had a chance to meet God face to face, and you could ask him one question, what would you ask him?
What would I ask him? When I was growing up, I always wondered or wanted to know who God is. And I don't want to say was. I always wanted to know who God is. And I really did not believe that the white Jesus that they gave us growing up was the one. And I always used to say as a little girl, who are you? Where are you? Because I really did not believe that white man. And I don't know why I believe that. So when I was introduced to the Nation of Islam and the teachings of the Elijah Muhammad, and I really learned that the original man was the black man. And Elijah Muhammad said that every time he looked at the black man, he sees God or he's seeing God. So I would not ask him a question. I would say, Allah, thank you for revealing yourself to me and letting me know who you are, because I always wanted to know who God is. So I am glad before I die that I have learned and found out who God really is.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Okay, great. What if God if you were talking God face to face and he could ask you one question, what question do you think he may ask you?
I have a feeling he would say to me, I think he would say, well done, my sister. Because I've really learning the teachings, and I've really tried to be a good Muslim. I try to be a supportive person, and I pray to him that I would stay on the straight and the narrow way. So I can't think of what he would ask me, but I have a feeling he would say to me that he knew that I tried, and he knew that I tried to walk the good walk.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Well, Sister Alima, I have one more question before we let you go. Can you what would you like your legacy to be?
When I took my Shahada on June 1st, 1980, and that was a Sunday, I'll never forget it.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Kareem asked me to, what did he asked me to, when I took my Shahada, he asked me to be an example, a good example to the sisterhood. And I've always tried to step out looking right, being right, and acting right and correct. So I would like my legacy to be that Sister Alima learned how to be an MGT, and she walked the walk of an MGT, and and was an example for the young sisters coming in, and an example for the sisterhood, a good example for the sisterhood.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And you've known me before I was born, and many of my siblings.
Oh yes,
And
oh yes,
and
oh yes, oh yeah.
every time I've seen you, you've always been dressed to impress, feminine, and just a great example of beauty and an MGT. So I want to thank you for your sacrifice on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience. We want to thank you for your sacrifice, for we're standing on your shoulders and the other pioneers who helped to establish Islam. So we thank you very much for that.
And I thank you for having me, because now that I am in my 70s and I'm a senior, I would like to be an example, or a good example to anyone. But I would like to say thank you for knowing you and watching you all grow up, working with Sister Sharifa, working beside her as she was the Vanguard directress. And so it was a pleasure and honor of knowing you and the whole family, your mom, your grandmother, Brother Jamil and his family. So it's really my honor knowing you, and having the support of you all as I grew and tried to be a good Muslim.
Praise be to Allah. Well, thank you very much. We love you, Sister Lima. So many people
We
showing you
love
love in
you
the
too.
comments. I
Yes, I
can't wait
love
to
you
put this
too.
on YouTube. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam, and thank you. And I wish you much success.
Yes, ma'am. Same to you, ma'am. All right.
Thank you, sir.